Even at Bel Air High School in 1967 for his high school yearbook photo, the real Brent Spiner has tons more Texas manliness than his Jew clone, who owns Brent's Twitter right now. Yeah, the Jew clone took over Brent's Twitter about 2 years ago, and his Twitter used to be funny, and now all the jokes are so dorky and they're not funny. He's ruined Brent's Twitter. And Brent's really upset about that. This is what Brent looked like in 1967 at Bel Air High School in Bel Air, Texas, where he went to school. And I actually visited there to do research for my novel, Silver Skies. And as you can see, look at this high school kid's manliness. What a Texas macho guy he is. I mean, and that clone, when you look at his face, he looks like he has the maturity of a 2-year-old. That's probably his literal age, by the way, or even younger. That what they do with these clones is that they're created in Jesuit cloning labs, and then they use accelerated growth hormone to age them and make them look. So their physical age is probably like 1 year old, and their emotional age is like a 2-year-old. I mean, look at that face. He looks like a 2-year-old. The one on the right, that's the clone. And, and the Brent Spiner there in high school in 1967. And here's Brent in 1990. I think that's when this picture was taken. This is for the cover for his album, Old Yellow Eyes Is Back. This is the Brent Spiner I fell in love with. Look at the manliness there, the Texas manliness. That's what I fell in love with. And the Brent Spiner clone can't get anywhere near Brent when it comes to macho Texas manliness. They are two different people. And anybody who has an emotional IQ of 5 can see this. I have created a web page that goes into a lot of detail about how I know that it was the real Brent Spiner who talked to me on my phone in 1991, 92, and 93. And also, I believe that well, let me go ahead and show you some things here. This is his album, which he made for me, Old Yellow Eyes Is Back, and he admitted this. This is a letter that I wrote to Brent. And as you can see, my telephone number is up at the top. I actually have a copy of this. I was using a dot matrix printer back in those days. And I've got this typed word for word at my web page that I created for this. And when you read the letter, you can tell that I didn't have I wasn't trying to win him as a lover. It was a pure friendship letter. And I think I even wrote on the back the hymns, the hymns that I sang. Hold the fort, for I am coming, Jesus. Tears are a language God understands. When my life work is ended and I cross the swelling tide. That's Jesus paid it all. Oh, that's my Savior first of all. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. What I did is I played it on piano and I sang. I had a Kauai apartment upright that my husband had bought for me about a year after we were married. And here's so send I you, a missionary song. So send I you to labor unrewarded. To bear. It's a song all about missionaries, how they go off to a foreign field and leave everything behind. These were the songs that I sent to Brent. I think I also sang Day by Day and The Lord is My Light. I sang a whole bunch of hymns. I filled up about a half an hour's worth. And I played on the piano. And I did that to thank him for writing me a letter, because he wrote me a letter and he said, Dear Mrs. Schuler, I apologize for the lateness of this reply, but due to my schedule on Star Trek The Next Generation and off, I'm behind on my mail. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. They were read with appreciation. Thank you for your comments about my portrayal of Data. They were read with interest. I hope you continue to watch and enjoy the show. Sincerely, Brent Spiner. And he signed his first and last name. The letter was typed on plain white paper on a a white number 10 envelope with no return address, with an Atlanta postmark and a regular postage stamp. It had a yellow forwarding address label slapped onto it that indicated the post office had forwarded it from my previous Cutler Ridge, Florida address. So, and on September 9th, 1990, Richard Arnold even said it was coming. He said, also by now you should have some sort of response from Brent, as the person who was handling his mail told me that it is almost caught up. And I think Brent did mail me an autographed photo, but the Jesuits caused either my husband or someone at the post office to sabotage it, so I never received it. So I received Brent's letter in September 1990, the very beginning of September, right about this time of the year, actually. And this was in 1990. And I answered back, Dear Brent, I wrote him a letter back, and I said, I don't feel I've adequately thanked you for taking the time from your busy schedule to write a personal letter to me. I was quite shocked to get a letter from you. But now that I'm over the shock, I've decided to express my gratitude in song. And I said, promise you, I'm not singing you any gushy love songs. I'm just singing some Christian hymns. There are about 7 songs on the tape, and there are some pauses in between. And after my singing, I just filled up the tape, I said, with some music by Handel and Bach. And I said, I don't care if you listen to this or not. I know you're busy. Every now and then I get in the mood for music like that. But the music I most enjoy is music sung from the heart, even if there are mistakes in it. And then I said, sometimes I wonder if these professional musicians really mean what they sing. I hope you'll have time to listen, and maybe you could stick it in your car's cassette deck. We have one in our car. I said, be patient with my piano playing and my singing. It's difficult for me to sing along with my piano playing, as you will notice that my playing is not the greatest. I've only had a year and a half of piano lessons, but I've been practicing a lot on my own. My piano could use a good tuning also. People say they love to hear me sing. I used to sing in choirs and did solos. I never volunteered. I get stage fright. Oh, by the way, when I sent him this, I had no idea he was such a good singer. I just loved to sing, and this, so I did it to him. I made one for him to thank him for sending me that letter. So I said once I was once a member of a church of about 1,000 people, and when the choir director asked me to do solos, I flat refused. I just couldn't handle singing alone in front of all those people. And I told them that I sang in the chorus for Handel's Messiah in my high school chorus a long time ago, and sang in the background for some professional operas at the Miami Beach Auditorium. And I told them I said, I think I'm my own worst critic. I hope you will like my singing as well as everyone else says they like it. I've had very little formal voice training. This is mostly impromptu singing, so you'll notice a lot of mistakes. I just hope the message of the songs will come across despite my human frailties. I just sing from my heart. God bless you, and you are in my prayers daily. Give my regards to Richard Arnold if you remember, and if you think my singing is any good, let him listen. I'd like for him to hear it also. I think you guys are the greatest. Sincerely, Gail Schuler. I signed my name. And a letter I wrote in December, I started reading from Data Entries, a Star Trek fanzine with Melody Rondeau, that Brent in October started making a music album. This was a month after I sent him my singing, and I vaguely thought it might have been because of me, but I thought, probably not. I figured I might have inspired him to make it, and he decided to show that he had singing talent, but I had no idea that I didn't know what kind of music it was, because I sent him hymns, I had no idea he'd made an album of love songs for me. Apparently when he heard me sing, he decided that was it. He was in love with me. So, but I had no idea. I mean, I wasn't trying to encourage romance, so it was like, I did it on accident. So that's what Brent said later. And I have another letter that I wrote December 15th, 1990 that shows you the state of my mind. My telephone number and address was up at the top. I trusted Brent. My emotional IQ told me that he was a good man. And I noticed that that when I started telling him about my problems with the state of Florida, how they were harassing me. And it's interesting how the harassment started after my correspondence with Brent started. And I forgot to mention, I first started writing him letters I started in 1989. I think my first letter I sent him about September 1989, and I wasn't sure what address to write. I watched Pen Pals. I wasn't sure what address to write, so I went to the library, and I found a Paramount Studios address, and I just wrote the Paramount Studios, and I got Richard Arnold, and he wrote me back and told me about the Star Trek fan club, and gave me the fan mail address for Brent, where I could write him. You said, why did you decide to write Brent? Because you were kind of like, you had this strict Christian background and you didn't believe in Hollywood. When I saw Pen Pals, I saw something in his eyes that just made me admire. He seemed like such a vast person, such a humanitarian. And the whole episode was about how Data was the only one on that ship who had the courage and the convictions to try to rescue this poor dying girl on a dying planet, and nobody else seemed to care about her. And this was his pen pal friend, and he risked his job and everything to try to save her planet. And the whole story, they were arguing about the Prime Directive, saying, and I've got that video at the web page, at my Brent Spiner's 1990s page, and you can watch the episode at my website, where I talk about why that episode made me fall in love with Brent. So anyways, go check the links underneath this video, and you're going to find out how I know that I had the real Brent Spiner. Also, you know, I have a very high emotional IQ, and I think Brent does too. And look at the words of the songs. I've got 4 songs in particular that let me know that Brent made that album. From More Than You Know, he said, whether you are here or yonder, whether you are false or true, whether you remain or wander, even though your friends forsake you, even though you don't succeed, wouldn't I be glad to take you and give you the break you need? You can tell he was singing this music for somebody that was just like me. More than you know, girl of my heart, I love you so. Lately I find you're on my mind more than you know. And what I did, you guys, is I actually made a music tape of me singing along with Brent to these 4 songs. That made me realize when I listened to this music that he made this album for me. Whether you're right, whether you're wrong, girl of my heart, I'll string along. You need me so much more than you'll ever know. Loving you the way I do, there's nothing I can do about it. Loving may be all you can give, but baby, I can't live without it. Oh, how I'd cry, if you got tired and said goodbye. More than I'd show, more than you'd ever know. He didn't make that for Laurie McBride. Actually, Laurie didn't enter his life until 1992, when his feelings for me were at their height. So that's when I knew something was not right there. Okay, long time. Okay, he sent me I got the album in June 1991 because my friend Melody Rondeau, a Christian girl who's also a Star Trek fan, sent me the album. I wasn't even planning on getting it, but I guess Jesus made sure I got it. A long time, another song. You'll never know how many dreams I've dreamed about you, or just how empty they all seemed without you. It's obvious. I thought, wow, he made this for me. When I heard the words, you'll never know how many dreams I've dreamed about you, or how empty they all seem without you. Okay, When I Fall in Love, this song, he picked that song. When I Fall in Love, this song shows that Brent had not won the girl and was wooing her. That was me. When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love. He could tell from reading my letters that I had very strong Christian convictions and I took marriage very seriously. And he knew to win me, he had to show that he respected that. In a restless world like this is, love is ended before it's begun, and too many moonlight kisses seem to cool in the warmth of the sun. Now, what's interesting is I told him in one of my letters to him that I don't respect most Hollywood actors because I felt like their morals were really low, but he seemed to be different. See, like in this letter right here, you can see it. This is one of the letters I wrote to him. So I actually put the letter in. So anyways, check out my music album. Check out my links. And Brent is great. His clone is terrible. I have no doubt. Brent is macho. He's manly. Check out the links. I actually made, oh, by the way, the password is Texas Manliness, capital Texas, space, capital MANLINESS, to hear the music album. I mean, I actually sang along with Brent to those 4 songs. I have